myself for you, for you. And now I found a reason to. I'm trying to hide myself for you, for you. And now I have a reason to change for the good of the game. A reason to change for the good of the game. Pain on the inside. I'm pushing it back, pushing it back. Hate on the outside. I take it back, take it back. What makes me turn away from you, from you? Now I found a reason to. What makes me walk away from you, from you? And now I have a reason to change for the good of the game. A reason to change for the good of the game. What the hell is wrong with you? I did everything that I could ever do. Just don't see the point.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Yes, Pete Halbleib's in the house. Jenny Stanton's in the house from the UK. This is going to be a great show, ladies and gentlemen. Unidentified. I wanted to get a round table discussion on this and break this thing down in further depth. Stay tuned on Talk is Cheap. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. It is Friday night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us wherever you are. We got the chat wide open here. We can see your discussions. Don't be afraid to say something. Say hello. There's a lot of you guys in there. Chad, Terry, David, and Tyler, I see.
Dilly, yep. Don't forget Dilly and Seal
And that's
and Biker Babe 2009, right on.
Pete Halbleib in the house here.
Yeah, good evening, Planet Earth and beyond. Live tonight. This is always exciting. I'd like to say also that, when we do these live shows, there's a lot of stress and technical challenges leading up to it. And you should have seen the tongue lashing Dan gave me right before we went on.
Oh, yeah.
Right. There's one. Anyway, it's good to be here. Glad to have you with us.
We'll get into that. And over in the UK, over on the other side of the Atlantic, is none other than Jenny Stanton. Jenny, thanks for joining us today. And she froze.
Oh, no.
See, we were having some issues that'll cut out and she'll come back in.
Yeah. So when she comes back in, everybody just smile and nod like she was here the whole time.
There you are. All right, we can see you.
Yep.
I can hear you. You're not breaking up at all from my end.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're doing great so far right now after you came back. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Before we get into today's topic, of course, the unidentified, the Tom DeLonge disclosure, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we got to break down a couple things here. First things first, I want to talk about our ECETI trip coming up on August 8th through the 11th. If you wish to join us out there, Pete has just confirmed with me that he's going to be.
Yeah. I got permission from all the various bosses I have in my life, so I should be out there. I got to get the plane ticket booked, and we'll be all set.
Yeah, we got to discuss a little more details after the show. There's a lot to take into account when you're doing something like this. But if you guys want to come out and join us as well, August 8th through the 11th, we'll be there in some shape or form.
Yeah. Yep.
So another big thing here. Oh man, this is where SH, you know what, gets crazy because I just saw this article. This is YouTube to delete thousands of accounts after it bans supremacists, conspiracy theorists, and other harmful users.
Sweet. Awesome.
I know, right?
That's great news for us and
So
everybody.
when you break this thing down,
I'm telling you, man, they're getting tighter and tighter on what they let the population look into. And I'm not defending like white supremacy stuff. The conspiracy theory stuff is what's gets me fired up, because it's like anybody can call anything a conspiracy theory, and then they dismiss it instantly out of hand. And if it wasn't for so many of them being shown to be real over the years,
Exactly.
I would maybe understand that. It drives me nuts.
and the way they do this article, YouTube will delete thousands of accounts after banning supremacists, conspiracy theorists, and other harmful accounts. Let's just throw us in there in supremacists just so they can
Yeah,
get their
right. Why are
narrative.
we in the same sentence as that?
So they can demonize conspiracy
Yeah.
guys. And then it also, such as promoting Nazi ideology or claiming 9/11 did not happen.
Oh my God.
Those videos, as well as others kinds of supremacist content, will now be officially banned. So
We're screwed, man.
I read this as like,
Is that real?
they're going to be doing this in the coming months, and they already did some shadow banning. It has affected this channel tremendously, and of course, shadow banning is it's not going to be promoted in the sidebar there, recommendations. So when you watch a video, the algorithms, because I noticed that before when I was on YouTube, I was like, you used to be able to watch a video, it would lead you in another spot, and you just keep boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
yeah,
Now it's
yeah.
like all the stuff that it's showing is like, what is this? Why do I care? And you
Yeah,
don't
right.
watch anything, and
Yep.
it just gets buried. So
Yeah, if you search for it, you can find it if you know what to search for. But
I thought I would bring that up before, because we may just go down one of these days, folks, and that's why the backup channels are there. And
yeah, Terry, it doesn't seem to be getting ridiculous. It is ridiculous, man. You're absolutely right.
okay, so let's move on to Unidentified and talk about this. So I watched this. I gave my take earlier this week. Jenny, you have watched this
I have.
as well, but Pete kind of failed me on this one.
Yeah, well, there was a miscommunication, and now in hindsight, it makes total sense. I don't know why I thought it was going to be the other way, and I didn't watch it before.
Well,
I came
you were
on.
under the impression that we were going to play clips on this.
Yeah,
show.
and then the whole copyright thing you brought up, I'm like, oh, of course, yeah, that makes sense. Why would I even think that? I was just, I don't know what happens.
Yeah, those who watch the show, the Tuesday show, I actually played that one clip of Tom DeLonge's, the one he tweeted out. The algorithm picked it up on the History Channel's thing, and then I just said, well, rather than try to dispute, I just cut that section out, because you can do that on the YouTube. It's a mess. This is why I'll be happy once we get rid of the monetary system, because you get rid of the copyright system, and it's just
Yeah.
freeing.
Yep. Well, data and information should be free anyway.
Okay, so I gave my take on this, Jenny. So what do you think, in a nutshell, what are your feelings on this? To the Stars Academy, the History Channel, Unidentified.
Well, Dan, I made extensive notes. I did
Somebody
it.
did homework.
I did it for Pete. This is
No, thanks, Jenny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Darn it.
It was going so good.
Yeah, but, you know,
and
I'll tell.
gone again. Did
There
I?
you
No,
are.
you're back.
Ah,
Yep, we got you back. It's frustrating.
You know, it's the satellite connection going over the water there, and
yeah, it's maybe Tom DeLonge sent some.
It's the History Channel coming after us
yeah,
again.
I think so. So yeah, we'll
Channel-
just have to.
yeah.
I think this is going to happen periodically throughout the show. So
Yeah.
just go ahead and start talking, and then when you cut off, I'll try to come in with some smart remark, I guess.
Fair enough. Well, the first thing I picked up is in under 5 minutes, they made the statement, UFOs are a threat to
Yes.
national security.
Yes, that's something that you hear a lot every time the UFOs have been getting brought up. It's always this threat, this unknown, and Independence. It's is it Independence Day or is it ET? And everybody
Well, he actually said that at the end too.
That's what he said at the end. He said, will it be ET or Independence Day? And
right now we don't know. Yeah, right. Of course you know. Well, he doesn't know. I'll give him credit because he was just a pilot. But
Yeah.
the AATIP program, they had plenty of time to research this stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was just one tiny little drop in the bucket of information gathering, on this topic.
Yeah.
I noticed this very serious vibe that ran through it throughout the whole thing. It was a real sort of serious, and the word threat was used so many times. And whenever they did, because I always listen to the background of things, maybe that's the rhythm guitarist in me. I always listen to what's going on in the background, and I noticed straight away that whenever the word threat came up, music changed, serious music, spooky music, scary music. It was creating this sort of fearful, oh God, this could be terrible. This could actually be a very, very bad thing for us, rather than, they didn't stay in the middle. They went very much to the threat side, to the drama of it. I get that you've got to make these things interesting and put a little bit of dramatic music and all the rest of it. But
did you notice in the beginning with the woman pilot, when she was in silhouette there, how immediately she was a little scared because they had what is his name, Lieutenant Favor. I wrote it down here somewhere, but he was Favor.
Yep, Favor.
He was like this guy that goes into danger. He flies right in there. He sees something, and she's just in the back there because she doesn't have any control over it. She's just his co-pilot. She's like, at that moment, my heart sank. I didn't know what this thing was. And then it plays that scary music. And
well, one thing to keep in mind is the History Channel is in the business of getting viewership for shows, okay?
Yeah.
And so they're going to jazz it up and put as much production as theatrics on it as they can, to get people to watch.
Definitely.
Yeah. And another thing is, I think that, when we see truly what the world would consider as a smoking gun, it's not going to be on a History Channel show either, but this is a good step.
Well, that's the
right?
big thing I want to talk about too, because if you want to get this out to the mainstream public, the people who don't listen to the UFO things, which is what they're trying to do here, why do it on the History Channel when those people already know about the UFO? It's basically like Luis Elizondo when he went to the UFO conferences to give his presentation. We know it already. He needs to go like on Dancing with the Stars or something.
Yeah, or whatever, The Voice or something. Or
that would be entertaining, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why doesn't Ellen have him on her show? That'd be
all
cool.
right. Yeah.
Something like Oprah. If we could get Oprah on board, we'd be set.
I said they have to make this topic kind of sexy and maybe get the Kardashians in there or something.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Jenny.
I found it quite interesting. It took them 25 minutes to bring DeLonge into it. They built it up nicely.
I know, right?
And then it was sort of, and here's this ex-rock star, and
like they treat him like he's some kind of god, like
because he would know, or you got to trust him.
It's like the brains behind all this is Tom DeLonge, and then they have what was his name? The UFO researcher. Stuff's always on the tip of my head and I lose it. George Knapp. She said, is Tom DeLonge being controlled by a small group of powerful insiders? She said, let me ask you that point blank. And he sits there. No, I think he's just, it's like, what? You researched this stuff for how long? When you look into the UFO stuff, you know that there's more there, and he's acting like this is just, I don't know if that's something they tell him to do. Because I know John B. Wells, when he hosted Coast to Coast, he went too far on something and he wasn't allowed to be on there anymore as a host.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, they have to water it down somewhat for the masses, right? And to be taken seriously by the people that are on the fence, and I guess B, to not completely rile up the willfully ignorant on the topic. So if he were to come out and say, oh my God, we know about him, they got bases everywhere, that may be a little too much too fast, right?
Carol Murphy in the chat says, isn't DeLonge in league with the Podesta? He absolutely is. That's another thing too. When you research this stuff, Tom's like, I researched all the same stuff for 25 years, And when you do that, you realize how corrupt the Clintons are when you go down there. And he acted like Hillary Clinton was the best thing ever. Like these are in the WikiLeaks documents. You can read the emails. And he had massive respect for her. And did you see that part when it showed the election? Like when it showed Trump, like it's showing Hillary waving like all nice, and when it shows Trump, it's just kind of like, oh, then this loser won. It was implied, I think, for that to be that way.
Yeah, you could see the colour of the politics definitely in that show, in episode 1.
Yeah, so the whole thing. So how do you think this is part of the disclosure for them? They use the Nimitz, and then a new episode is going to air tonight, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll read the notes for that later. But where is this going long term, do you think, Jenny? How are they going to build this up to disclosure?
It just makes me think of that prediction made by the German guy, Werner von Braun, was it? Werner von?
Yep, Werner von Braun.
Who said that the final act would be when they've tried the threat of the Russians and terrorism and all the rest of it, that they would try this alien threat thing. And I get a strong vibe from this that's the direction that they're going in, and putting those key players in. It just, and also they even use the term advanced aerospace threat. So it wasn't just threat, it was advanced. So there's so much of that kind of language throughout the whole thing, start to finish. They kept just hammering that point home, threat. And also, now I wrote this down, I can't remember if maybe I was hallucinating, I don't know, but didn't they show a bit of 9/11, or they brought 9/11 into it as well?
That was another thing too, I think, to instill fear in people.
Yeah, it was so fearful, everything that they put in. The only bit of light relief I had, and I think we all need to take a moment to appreciate the name Brian Bender, who was brought in. I'm like, that is a beautiful name. All appreciate Brian. I think he was like a Politico journalist. I think he was one of the journalists rather than anyone in the Air Force or anything. But I just thought, what a beautiful name, Brian Bender. Anyway, that was the only time I was smiling throughout it, because the rest of the time it was all very, very. This is a threat. This is it could end up like 9/11. It could be. That was the vibe I got from it. By bringing 9/11 into it, it was almost as if to say, if that could happen with humans and planes.
Right.
So that's how they were tying 9/11 into the whole disclosure.
Chris Mellon was in the Pentagon when 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, then he said the official story, basically some terrorists hijacked planes, blah, 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 blah. So we got to take this seriously if that can happen back then.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's where they were going with it. So it was just so fear all the time. And
so aliens are terrorists now, I guess, huh?
We're not men. Yeah, it was. I found it really interesting. What I found more interesting was hearing what the pilots experienced, rather than DeLonge and his team. And
yeah, the actual, like, as it happened, conversation between the pilots and stuff. That's the most compelling stuff for me. You can.
Interesting thing here. It's on screen right now in my B-roll. They talked about the observables. They covered it for a very, very short time. The observables are anti-gravity, instant acceleration, hypersonic velocity, low observability, like cloaking or dimension shifting, and trans-medium travel. I was like, when they covered that, I was like, holy cow, that's pretty in-your-face stuff to be hitting there. And then it was just quickly over. They wanted to get that out there and then get away from it.
Yeah. Just drop it in and then run away. And some people might pick up on it, but most people probably won't.
Just to plant the seed, but they're not ready to water it yet.
Absolutely, and they did that all the way through. It was planting the seeds into the consciousness of threat, and then bit of technology, bit of this, bit of that, and then threat.
This is important because this is geared towards More of the dumbed down population, even though it shouldn't really be on the History Channel, it should be somewhere else. But I guess if they can get people talking, hey, you should watch this, because if you get John Podesta in there, that's quote unquote in a high level, was in a high level of political position there, chief of staff for the Clinton campaign. Just to try to get the seed growing and getting people to ask questions about, because if these guys are taking it serious, okay, let's look at this. And then you got the pilots seeing what they see, and just try to drive this all together and get people to push for it.
But what was interesting, at least what they've shared and what we've seen on the videos, is that these advanced aerospace vehicles are not acting threatening. If anything, they're just acting indifferent.
That's the part that pisses me off, because they say they're a threat. Tom DeLonge admits these been going on since at least 1947, 70 years.
Yeah.
Okay, if they're a threat, why are we still like sitting here and we haven't had any action?
Yeah, well, they certainly haven't on a large scale gone and started mowing down entire cities and stuff. Maybe there's been some altercations with the military, but certainly the videos that they've released
on our end,
yeah,
just shoot the hell out.
Yeah, right. Oh, there it is. Get it. And but it certainly didn't look threatening to me. It just looked like it really didn't even care that we had our jets out there. It probably could easily outrun anything we'd throw at it.
It kind of played with them as well, because the pilot had mentioned that the UFO, when they moved towards it and then the UFO moved away, that the UFO found itself at the cap point where the plane
60 miles away.
Yeah, which I thought was it was almost as if it was sort of playing with them, but threatening, non-threatening, who knows? You can't just assume that is.
And they figured that was 3,700 miles per hour that thing had went to get over there at the cap point.
Yeah.
So then they bring in these experts. You can tell it's so stupid, because when they had sat them down and they're looking at the video, you can tell it's all scripted. It was even scripted. Would you see that right away when Luis Elizondo's interviewing the pilot? He's pretending like he's writing stuff down. He's been over this case how many times, so he knows it all in and out. But what was really interesting at the beginning of that is it showed that Elizondo was under an oath of secrecy yet. He has secret clearance, but he's doing the show and documenting it as he goes, so he can use that as the ammunition, because he can't be allowed to say what he knows.
Oh, okay.
That was an interesting little tidbit that they threw out there.
Oh.
So, and then what did you think of when they talked about Chris Mellon? He had a section in there about how powerful, like, they went back, basically almost kind of like insinuating that they're almost kind of like a Rothschilds, Rockefeller kind of people here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that didn't surprise me. I think that's always been known, isn't it? People have always, especially with Podesta, his involvement.
I didn't know too much about Mellon's history. I should have really dove into his history more. But when they put that in there, tried to like pump him up a little bit, like he's this big guy. He's had the Mellons go back there, powerful people. And then because I always thought, how I'm tying this in here is, Jim Simivan was supposed to run this operation, but now it looks like Chris Mellon is kind of the brains behind this operation.
Yeah, and they built him up with this person is very, 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 very important, so therefore you should believe everything that is said.
Exactly.
And I just don't trust it. I don't trust any links.
It's really tough, because when you put these together, it's like, it's great that we're finally getting somewhere with disclosure, but that's how they control the narrative, is they release a lot of truth with some bad stuff that they want, which is, in this case, is the threat thing was what they're pushing for.
Yep, for the manipulation piece.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple comments about some of the comments I've been reading. Night Sabers, I think they're pushing the threat narrative to motivate the public to push Congress to look into it. That's interesting. If they weren't a threat, would people even really care as much to say, hey, demand some answers. I thought that was pretty interesting. Here you go. Good comment. And then Truth Seeker mentioned Project Blue Beam. I was going to bring that up too. So stay tuned. So even if we do see what we perceive as an alien threat in the skies, it could all be Project Blue Beam.
That's a great point.
Yep.
Wow.
So anyway,
bring that in, didn't they? They brought in Harry Reid and they brought in Project Blue Book. Was it Blue Book?
Yes, Blue Book was mentioned too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because they were, secretly studying these since what, the 40s, 50s, on at least a somewhat of a provable level now.
Yeah, that said Blue Book studied 12,000 UFO sightings. They concluded UFOs were no threat, and they had to do this. Chris Mellon says it's a need to discredit this phenomenon. They had to discredit this thing so the public wouldn't keep asking questions about it. So they buried it. Now they admitted they buried it. And what really, they tie this together, and I've read this about the articles with Tom DeLonge, basically thanking them for doing that to keep us, the public, safe, not telling us because there were like all this crazy stuff going on. He's basically made it like, okay, so if a terrorist crosses the border with a nuclear bomb, you don't want to tell the public that.
Yeah,
just
right, because the
keep
public
quiet.
will freak out. Well, look at the War of the Worlds, the radio broadcasts, and people were grabbing guns to go down to the field to shoot this alien ship. And that's at least more prevalently back then. That was kind of the outlook, and that was the mindset of a lot of people. There's still that out there to to a large degree, probably in certain cases, but we're much more prepared for it now. So hey, let's tell them. We'll tell them it's a threat, and they'll just hand over any rights, and we'll just let the government control. Big Brother knows best.
That's right. That's exactly right. Trust us. We know how to deal with it.
Yeah, that's part of the disclosure thing too. They want to keep I think if you can get people in a scared enough state.
Oh, they'll do anything to protect, to get their safety assured. Just to take everything. You can have all my money and just give me, food and a place to live. It's funny what people will do.
Another thing those experts said too, when they were watching the video and analyzing it, they're like, we could have real trouble down the road.
Yeah, I picked up on that as well. Again, trouble, threat, just so much negative language used throughout. They didn't seem to look on the positive side of any potential.
There was just a small pot. They have I just showed the clip there where it said that this could lead to good technologies to be released, but it's very short. They kept that very quickly.
Just mentioned it and moved on. So what's the deal here? DeLonge, Elizondo, they're just government shills now?
Not directly. This is what everybody wants to say, that, Tom, like the government's going in there and telling them what to do. What they're doing is steering Tom DeLonge. They're
giving him a platform.
And he's got an ego, so they can use that to their advantage.
Yep. And same with Lewis then? I mean,
Lewis, I think, actually knows, but he has
he's just making some money on this?
No, the government, basically, this is your job if you choose to accept.
Oh, and make sure that you're steering DeLonge in the right direction, too.
He says that he's retired.
So,
which he could be, but he could be working for another private entity.
Yeah. So what do you call it? Like, is it the happy idiot or something? I can't remember. There's a name for that. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Useful idiot.
Useful idiot. Thank you.
Ding ding.
Thank you for clearing that up with me. I'll accept that as an explanation.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the other, I should have mentioned that too, was with the threat thing, the reason they told them to discredit it was because of the Cold War. They had to shut that down quickly with the Blue Book. That's very important. You got a war going on. Mm-hmm. You don't know what this stuff is. Let's not.
We're seeing a bunch of UFOs. Oh my God, it's the Russians, and people's, red button fingers get a little itchier, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I'm going to bring up tonight's episode, which will air. We got. I'm going to switch it for you folks here so you can see it.
I suppose we're not allowed to watch the preview.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
This is okay, so this episode 2, there's 6 of these things, so we're on 2 of 6. A former U.S. Navy radar operator emerges from the shadows to reveal the terrifying day it rained UFOs.
Terrifying.
Bing, bing.
I saw the eye roll, Jenny.
There it is.
Oh,
For the
boy. Before
Well, that took the first sentence. Sorry.
No, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
glad you stopped me. I didn't even see. I'm getting so used to it. I didn't even
Yeah.
stop to even think about that.
Yep.
For the first time, U.S. Navy personnel unveil new details of the stunning encounter, including a shocking capability that could explain why UFOs are sighted over oceans. Evidence of a U.S. military cover-up emerges. Well, yeah.
Duh.
Oh yeah.
As the team gets a major lead guiding them to an island with a long clandestine history of UFO activity. Connections between UFOs and secret U.S. craft must be explored. So now they did the Nimitz. Now they're going to go to this island and show that, hey, they're going to talk about submersibles, USOs.
Yep, USOs, and then that we've already now apparently have learned something about their craft to start building our own experimental craft. And the last sentence. UFOs and secret U.S. aircraft.
Oh, see, you're good at this.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to cover a lot of
Yeah,
different
'cause-
topics there.
Yeah, and then, oh, man. See, this is interesting because it's so much there, and they got to try to make it sprinkle this out. Because how are they going to disclose TR-3Bs, all this crap, when they've been hiding it for so long?
Yeah. You'd have to prep for it. You know?
And I think I was going to tie this into the other episode, too. I can't remembering what that was. Did you notice how at the end now, when it was like given a brief coming up this season, they got basically the biggest thing I took away from that was when they shut down the nuclear sites. They're shutting down our nuclear sites. They're a threat. Oh my God.
Yep.
Yes. I wonder what sort of language they're going to use to describe. Because what I got from the little clip of the next episode was that this was like a fleet of UFOs that was spotted. So I wonder what wording they use, like a gang of threatening vehicles in the sky. They're not going to say it in a like, oh, there's a fleet of UFOs. It'll be something really dramatic. That they'll
appearing to be in combat formation or something. They'll say, you know.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, part of me is thinking I hope this doesn't turn into the alien disclosure UFO version of Finding Bigfoot.
That's my concern, because if this was on History Channel, that's where that stuff's been. No, that was on Animal Planet.
Or something, yeah.
But they got other stuff on there. They got all kinds of UFO stuff on History. The fact is that it's been like shot down and covered so many times. People don't take it serious anymore.
No.
And it's like they have to go back and undo what they brainwashed people to do in the first place.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's a good point. Well, eventually it'll just give it a few generations and they'll get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to call into the show? I'm going to put the number up. Please, if you guys want to give your take on this, the phone lines are open by all means. 1-605-562-0444. 1-605-562-0444. And then I'll ask you for a caller ID for this show. That is 146-509-pound. And we can get you up on here, have a discussion with us, because I would love to hear your guys' take on this. Is there something that we missed that you think we should take a cue to? Because there's a lot here. This is disclosure. People are like, why do you care about DeLonge? I get a lot of these messages below the videos. Why do you care about this DeLonge thing? Don't even listen to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is disclosure, and this is how this is going to go down. Yeah, there's the Alliance members, and they have all their little projects that are going, but they ain't doing it to the extent that this is doing it. Now, the question is Trump working with this, or is this some other rogue faction within these different alliances?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know as if Trump would be focusing much on this right now. He seems to have his hands full in other areas. but I don't think that the president of the United States really has all that much say in how stuff gets disclosed anyway, and whether they want to do it. You know, they have they have an opinion. They have an opinion on it, but I don't. They by no means are the end all be all decision makers. You've got high ranking military officials, and government long term strategists.
Well, you know
putting
what?
their minds
At that
together,
point,
on how to best
when
do
you
this.
look and see that Trump, his uncle, got the Tesla papers, I would say screw it. Go over these guys' heads and say we got technology. It's time to release it.
Well, and that's the thing with Trump is he's so like uncontrollable that if he just gets a wild hair up his ass, he'll do it. He doesn't really seem to care. You missed the buzz. Anyway,
No, you're totally right.
I don't. He could do it. He seems like the type of person to me that would just in a big FU, I'm gonna do it. Somebody in the comments earlier said he's gonna march out the TR3Bs in the military parade that we have coming up, right? The military parade's still coming, isn't it? Some military
Well,
parade?
I know it got canceled the other year that they were going to do it.
Is that what it was? Or anyway, somebody made a comment he'll trot out the TR3Bs during the next military parade. Now that would be something I could see him doing.
He could do it in a subtle way, like just shoehorn them in, couldn't he?
Yeah, right. And say,
Not
explain
like-
that now.
Just put them in and
Yep.
see if
And off they go.
Is.
Yep. Yeah. So, but I think, like I said, I think he's got a little bit too much on his plate with everything that's going on in the.
It can happen.
It can happen. So Dan, no calls yet. We have we have a chatty group in the message window, whatever the hell you want to call that.
I have 58 people watching.
Yeah, and no one wants to call in and talk about Unidentified. I got to be honest. I think I'm doing a pretty good job not having seen it. But a lot of what you talked about, I had picked up prior to Unidentified and just in my normal day-to-day browsings. Like I've seen the Air Force videos. And
What's really interesting is you can really put the puzzle pieces together with the articles that I found out. They'll say something on there like, we don't know what it is. And you go to the article. There's Tom DeLonge admitting he knows what it is.
Sure.
Louis Elizondo too.
Yeah.
I think I put actually Chris Mellon, Tom DeLonge, and Louis Elizondo all say that it's aliens basically.
Really? Well, what else would it be, right? If it was,
Oh, it might not. It might be Russian.
well, you know what? If it was Russian or Iranian or Iraqi or Chinese or Swedish, who cares what it is? If it was out there and the government had it, they would be using it to make lots of money and gain lots of power and stuff on the planet. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Just imagine invading a country with 500 TR3Bs with advanced weaponry on them and stuff.
Well,
and EMP blasting.
there is the conspiracy theory of Hitler having the UFOs, but
yep.
he wasn't able to put weapons on them because when he shot them, the propulsion system, anti-gravity that he was using would push the craft so they couldn't have control of it because there'd be too much kickback and it would go out of control.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He needed to think about lasers. Sharks with
That's the
laser
thing.
beams.
Now laser weapons are admitted too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like so
And
science fiction
they've
stuff.
got sound weapons, electrical weapons, all that stuff.
Sure, Sean in the chat says I should switch. He would call in on Discord. Maybe I should start a Discord sometime. Then we got to get everybody over. There's so many different systems. It's like the whole thing with Twitter, YouTube, and then Facebook, and then like trying to keep all these together. It's just too many platforms. Everybody gets confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like half the stuff you're working with, I have no idea what it is. It's the first time I've seen it, is when I come in here. So I'm not the most techie guy.
Well, if they drop us, if YouTube comes through and says, "Oh, this is a conspiracy channel," gone. Well,
it kind of is.
And at that point, well, yeah. Why not ask questions though?
Mm-hmm.
But if they drop us, we'll, those backup channels only have about 100 subscribers a piece. On like we got over 19,000, but how many of those are actually viewers? Only like 1,000 of those.
Yeah.
So whatever.
And it only makes common sense.
All right, we got a caller. Let's listen.
All right.
This is awesome. This is exciting. First caller in a while. So we'll go with area code 706. You are on the air with us.
Hello?
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Hey. Yeah, so I'll tell you what's going on. I figured it out. So, like, Podesta and Hillary Clinton, they were going to do like a soft disclosure, like where they say that bad aliens has taken over. Like we sold out to the bad aliens, and they were gonna expose, or we're gonna show off Denver Airport, which is the alien human UN like Holocaust, like gas chamber, like spaceport. But like the CIA basically sold out to these insectilian aliens. These alien grays, that's not even their regular form. Like they like collect gene biomass and reform it into like these monsters, whatever, and they made this gray thing to interface with humans. But like these reptilians that were here, the Saurians from like way back in the day, I guess they convinced the humans to do this tree called Granada tree, and established Dulce base to like let the alien grays come here because they can't survive in this environment because of the diseases. Like this planet is at one time, like at the same time, extremely dangerous weapon because it's like these aliens, like a lot of them are like clones or whatever, and they can't handle like the disease, and it's also a great treasure for like bio life that came naturally.
Wait, so you're covering a lot of topics here. So.
Yeah. You went through a lot. I would love to get a link to the website that you're going to, or the titles of the books, but that was a lot to unpack there.
So let's back up here. So you're saying Hillary Clinton was they were going to go with this
soft disclosure with Podesta and Clinton, and I've actually heard some stories about Clinton's, and she actually mentioned some about Area 51 in the last campaign.
And these aliens are kind of like demons, like insectilian. Once you get to insect level, if you're incarnated in insect society, you're basically hell. So like they come from hell, and they want this planet. They want to take this planet for them. Like
yes, you're talking about like the reptilians.
Well, the reptilians were here before us. Like they like kind of like were here before us, like during the Atlantis times or whatever. And like somehow God like got rid of the insectilians, and like, but they wanted to come back, and like during the flood or whatever. And so like the NSA, there's like good guys in NSA, like on QAnon team, whatever, that saw that the CIA and the deep state and Illuminati like sold us out. But like, so they got their secret space program. So there's like two secret space programs. There's like the CIA ones, and then like you got the NSA one, and like. So, like, Trump wants to do a disclosure, but, like, a full disclosure, talking about the Palladians, and, like, we have help, like, with other races.
That would be great.
Yeah, but they're kind of, like, fucked, because Andromeda got taken over by an Andromeda strain. There was this movie called The Andromeda Strain, which the Navy, or the Army commissioned even, and it talked about how, like, their planet turned into Cybertron, like, became, like, Morgellons, freaking taken over by insects and fungus, like Shiva, like and so like that Andromeda like pretty much is fucked, and so like these Palladians, they're kind of like on Craft World. That's why like they don't have their planet anymore. Like a lot of their planets are taken over, and they're like they can't. So they're few in number, but they got psychic like the mind, like the Messiah chose mankind to be his preferred race because we're like his hand, like God, whatever, like the consciousness of the universe, like gave mankind knowledge to make machines, which is the extension of his hands, and like through like mechanics, like that's our chance to like, you know, like the book Hitchhiker's Guide, like God created man to like solve this great war in heaven, like when AI got invented. Which confounds the homicide because it's outside of his domain, like kind of. And, like, we've got like a soul, and so we're like connected to the homicide, and like the mech, the black goo mecha, and the Black Knight satellite. That's the AI, and like that's the witchcraft, and like it's taught like evil, Satanists, whatever, magic, and like to get up to this point where like they're terraforming the planet.
Well, you're covering a whole list of topics there. Did you say Cybertron? Let me see if I heard you correctly.
Cybertron. And that cartoon Transformers was pre-programming. It's supposed to be like Transformers, nanobots.
You have to send us that link on the Cybertron thing, because that's a little way out there for you.
Yeah, and I got a question for you too. Have you seen Unidentified?
No, haven't. No.
You haven't
Like,
seen.
you
You
the
haven't
Tom
seen.
DeLonge movie, or is that the Tom DeLonge movie or something? Or what is that?
Well, I appreciate your phone call, and thanks for calling in. But yeah, there was a lot there.
Well, that was an interesting call, Dan. I gotta say, it almost makes you wonder how he got the number. But anyway, we're gonna open up the phone lines back up here, and would love to hear your thoughts on the show, episode 1 of Unidentified. I guess you could talk about the trailer of episode 2 if you'd like, but give us your thoughts. Is it refreshing? Cautiously awaiting episode 2. Good thing, bad thing?
Yeah, we'll see what the future brings.
Yep.
What do you think, Jenny?
I think it's going to be interesting. I just want to hear from the people who have had these experiences, people who are in the Navy or in the Air Force who have actually seen it and have stuff recorded that they can show. That's interesting to me. When they bring in all the sort of very divisive, almost political side to it, it makes me think. It makes me switch off a bit, because I think, okay, we're going with a narrative. But more about people.
Oh no, government got us again.
Of course.
History Channel, damn it.
Don't have any other way.
It's probably area code 706 hacking our system or something. All right. Jenny's back. That's great. That was short.
Yeah. So I guess before we wrap up, I'll just let you guys know, because I don't think anyone else is calling in. They had a good chance by now.
Yep. Yeah. We're hoping for a couple more. Well, we had an interesting one at that. So I'm definitely gonna watch Unidentified, watch it Unidentified myself, and tune into episode 2, which probably by the time I get home tonight, there will be something online, you think?
Oh, yeah. Yep,
Awesome.
For sure. Also, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we do have a voicemail number. You can call in 1-256-510-5234, 1-256-510-K2D4. Leave a message on there. We can play it on the show. Show some love, show some hate, whatever you want to do. It's all there.
Let's hear it in the comments, folks.
And of course,
We can't get out of here without thanking our very special guest joining us from a very long ways away. Thank you, Jenny, for joining us. It was fun. Some technical difficulties, but I think we powered through it, and it worked out well.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, right. Yep, absolutely.
and she of course has the cover-up shirt.
Yes, I
Which is
noticed
on our website.
I noticed that she was wearing some sweet merch, and that just makes me. I need to go out and buy a couple more shirts.
Those are available on our
that is
website.
that is a cool one.
K2D4network.com. Head on over there. We got the End the Cover Up shirt, Talk is Cheap shirt, Disclosure Now Fish shirt, the Disclosure/Now shirt, which I got on right now. Very low key, but very awesome message.
Mm-hmm.
And Be the Change. And there's some other great stuff there as well. And it does support the broadcast. Well, you like this one?
You have a Bust a Nut t-shirt on there. Okay, so how does that tie in with Disclosure, Talk is Cheap, and stuff like that?
Well, I started coming up with these ideas. I work with a guy at work who talks like this, and I was like, I just had this crazy idea. Why not have Bust a Nut with a squirrel? Not in his hand. And I was like, yeah, I know this doesn't have anything to do with the conspiracy stuff, but if a lot of people want to buy other shirts, at least they can know that it supports the
You should do
broadcast.
a Christmas version and have one of those old soldier nutcrackers in there instead of the squirrel. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, you could do a Christmas
Did you
one.
ever use one of those nutcrackers before? Because
I don't think they were decorative, weren't they?
yeah, because the ones I used I broke because there was too
Yeah,
much.
I don't think they were really ever intended to be used. At least not the ones we saw.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, with that, I guess we'll close up shop here. Thank you guys for joining us live in the chat, and we'll have to do this again sometime. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Visit k2d4network.com today.